But now it's time for us to talk nutrition. And today on the nutrition segment, we're going to be talking about why every family needs a nutritionist. Okay, right from childhood to adulthood, there are so many different things that we go through, so many different phases of life that we go through. And at every point in time, it is critical for us to have a nutritionist. Of course, Akosia Konedu Yadam, who is a state registered nutritionist, is our guest today. And she's going to help us to get into this conversation to find out that what it is that is so critical about all the different stages of our life and why we need a nutritionist. Of course, the nutrition segment is sponsored by Lele Rice. Lele Rice, tasty food, happy family. All right, so Akosia, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine.
It's good to have you here again.
Always a pleasure.
Now, so I realized that, look, there's so many different phases of life, from the time you're in the womb all the way to just before you go to the grave, right? All these stages of life, there are different demands that our bodies require, you know, in terms of food, nutrition, and all of that. So let me not take it away from you. You tell us, why does every family need a nutritionist?
Okay, I'll start off by saying that once I sat down and I was making a personal evaluation of myself, and the fact that I had managed, I think, as a human being and then by God's grace, to avoid the hospital for 10 years. But I asked myself if I am supposed to stay off food for even a year, will I survive? Even Jesus, the 40 days, nobody can even venture. So it means that if with this basic analysis I've given you, it means that I need to really pay more attention to what I'm eating, because I told myself, I knew that one thing that can really knock me off was the fact that in Ghana we are challenged with malaria. And so if I would do everything right as far as malaria is concerned, if I don't hand my life over to a stupid driver who will go and kill me, or if I do ABC as far as taking care of myself is concerned, I may be able to avoid the doctor or the hospital, because I did that for 10 years. But there is no way I can go without food for 10 years. And so then nutrition, aside being a nutritionist, is something that we all need to pay attention to. Nutrition starts even before you think of my mother and father thought of even having me, because they were eating. And we know that for every woman, as far as even fertility is concerned, you need to prep yourself as far as your folate and iron stores are concerned. Now, fertility...
So this is even before conception?
This is even before conception, but in Ghana it happens by the time a woman knows she's pregnant, first trimester is even gone, and she's in her 4th month or 5th month. So it starts even before conception, because nutrition has everything to do with fertility. We've spoken about the right vaginal pH. There is a reason why conception is not happening for some women, and that is something relating to fertility. Sometimes the vaginal pH is too acidic, and it becomes a problem for you to be able to catch those sperms and make a baby out of it. So nutrition sits on the plate even before my mom wanted to have Akosia who will be on CTTV to talk about nutrition, because it has everything to do with prepping your system for the pregnancy. It has everything to do with a woman as far as trimester 1 of pregnancy is concerned, trimester 2 of pregnancy is concerned, trimester 3 is concerned. I ask the pregnant women every day during my ANC presentations, do you know why we give you folic acid? And they're like, oh, they said we should take, so we are taking. I was like, next time you enter into the consulting room, ask whoever gave you that why you are taking the folic acid. Is to help you as far as taking care of some birth defects are concerned, like spina bifida. And then is to also help you as far as mostly the multivitamins we give, like iron supplements, is to help correct sometimes the low HB in pregnancy, because a low HB can lead to you having a low birth weight child. You can bleed, and we hear mother didn't make it, baby didn't make it, or we lost the both of them. Is to address some of the challenges. So that is why nutrition is critical, because folic acid is the artificial version and folates are the natural version, and they sit heavily in our greens. And in Ghana, if you don't know kontomire, you know alefi, you know ademe, you know boko. So we have nutrition around us. And so even for pregnancy, you see how critical it is. Now, when baby is out, the first 72 hours after delivery or in a child's life is very critical. We've spoken about neonatal jaundice.
Yeah.
And sometimes, due to the trauma the child will need to go through, sometimes you can see a woman just saying she won't push again because she's tired. And so you can imagine the trauma this baby will be going through. So sometimes they are born with some amount of neonatal jaundice, and nutrition can correct that. So within 72 hours, if I am there, I do everything I can to stimulate the breast. So right after a cesarean section, you need to make sure your breasts are stimulated. That is, if a woman is able to move her limbs, now you need to go in and stimulate. So we give ourselves an hour after delivery. That is per the protocol. And then if it's an SVD or spontaneous vaginal delivery where you pushed yourself, we give ourselves 30 minutes. Whoever is taking care of you should have done the skin to skin, should clean the baby, should clean the woman up, and quickly start stimulating the breast of this mother to make sure that the 72-hour protocol is kind of achieved, because after 72 hours, the baby can't go without food. The blood sugar of this baby may drop. And that's why some mothers go like, after delivery, please give my child formula, because they ended up killing a friend's child, or my previous child died. So she doesn't want that to happen. It is the job of a nutritionist to give this child food within 72 hours. Any registered or proper nutritionist should make sure that the breasts are stimulated to give you that. Right after breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding. Now, when your child starts eating between 6 months to 9 months, you should know the right portions. You meet mothers and they go like, oh, Kweku's daughter is eating a bowl of cocoa. My child can't finish a bowl of cocoa. And you tell them that at 6 months, if your child at a feed can eat 3 tablespoonfuls of whatever you fed the child, this child has eaten. And they're like, wow, is it enough? If the child can do more, fine. But if the child is unable to do more, and this child has done just 3 to 4 tablespoonfuls of food at a feed, this child has eaten. Because 6 months and beyond, the nutritional needs of this child will go up. And at 6 months, the child's weight is supposed to double. So a nutritionist will need to even work with you as far as even breastfeeding after you've been discharged is concerned, because you have to breastfeed above 12 times a day. At a point in the child's life, it comes to 8 times a day. At a point, it will get to 6 times a day. And how do you know if you are not with a nutritionist, or if you go for weighing and you just weigh your child and just move away? You need to see the nutritionist so that the child's MUAC will even be checked at 6 months.
What's the MUAC?
The mid-upper arm circumference is to help you know that your child is thriving. You don't need just weighing to ensure that your child is doing well. There are some mothers, especially those who patronize the services of the private hospitals. And I'll again say it again today. If your private hospital doesn't have a nutritionist or a dietitian, change that hospital. Because what a lot of them do is just to check the weight. And even the plotting is wrongfully done. There is a hospital on the Spintex Road. A friend, just got in touch with me and was like, I want to know if my son is doing well. I was like, bring the child's book or record. This is what you have to have. For 0 to 5 years, you need this book for your child.
This is a standard record.
This is a standard of WHO Ghana Health Service. And so if they are not even using this cover, your facility should make sure that everything represented in this book is in there. Because we have color codes. So we have the pink section. We have the red.
Let me have it. Let's
so we have the color code. We have
what it looks like.
We have A and C care. We have antenatal care for the red code, and then the blue code is postnatal. So right after delivery, then you move to the CWC code. That's the green side. That is where we need to weigh your child. So the weight, the height of the child, the MUAC and its interpretation, the stat rights. Policies there, the 4-star diet, and then so you meet women and sometimes they're like, oh, they just check the weight. If stunting is happening, how do you know? Because there is no interpretation for your child's height. And stunting after 2 years can't be corrected. For good.
Wow.
So you need to make sure these are all done. There's a reason why they are color codes. So wherever you are going for A and C, whatever, if they don't give you this book, if they don't give you a book with all the representations
Yeah.
carefully drafted in. If your child's MWAC has never been
So that's
checked,
again. You said that's
this
what?
is the MWAC tape.
Upper arm
circumference by
Okay.
UNICEF, by
MUAC.
WHO, by Ghana Health Service. This is what we use. It's used in India, wherever, to check the mid-upper arm circumference. If your child is within the
So you wrap it around.
so it is wrapped around your arms are too big. I can't use
No,
you.
of course.
You're about 5'2". So normally the child's arm will be in like
In there,
this.
yeah.
Where's my camera?
Good.
This one. So like this, and then you read through the space here.
Okay,
so if your child is within green means go. It means
Yeah.
that it's healthy. But sometimes, like this Saturday, I checked the child's. The child is within green. But for the age of the child, I needed to tell the parents to sit up.
Okay.
Because if you have a child at 6 months giving me, let's say 13.5,
Yeah.
it's green
And that's centimeters, right?
in centimeters.
Okay.
So 13.5 centimeters. That is for 6 months. And then a child walks in 1 year
Yeah.
or 18 months and she's
It's
also reading
the same
13.5.
size.
It
That's a
means
problem.
that there is something wrong, even though that child is within green. So it's not all greens that are accepted. If your child is 3 years and it's reading green, but you know it's 13.5, it means that there's something wrong. So we don't use just the weight.
Yeah.
It's the weight, the height, the MWAC, and then the interpretations given to you. Now, when you take the book,
Before you continue, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, bro.
Lele, tasty food.
Bless you, Pastor.
Bless you, my son.
Lele, tasty food. Happy, happy family. Lele,
Neighbor, neighbor.
Ifo, it be so, it be so, it be so, it be so, it be so.
Lele, tasty food. Happy, happy family.
Ewi, my body is come after they see something. Oh.
Find out why people are going a whole 9 yards just to eat Lele rice. Lele, tasty food, happy family.
Tasty food. And a happy family.
This advert is FDA approved.
All right, so welcome back again, and we're still in the nutrition segment, and we've been discussing, the various needs of the different stages of life, and we've talked about the baby stage, pre-birth actually, before conception and all of that, the health status of mother, especially, as she prepares to get pregnant, and then of course, during pregnancy and then the birth of a child and all that. We have different slides that we want to show you. The first one is the role of a registered nutritionist, and then that's what we've talked about just now. Let's look at the C. We'll take a look at that, and we're talking about. You mentioned Ekosia about the MWAC interpretations and all of that. So there we have it.
Okay.
Yes.
So we have nutrition assessment and evaluation of CWC clients. We've spoken about that. The second point has to do with pediatric nutrition and rehabilitation.
Yeah.
So sometimes there are children on the ward who are unwell. They
Okay.
need to be managed as far as rehabilitation is concerned. And where the child is a CMAM case, for instance, that's the Community Management of Acute Malnutrition,
Okay.
where we see malnutrition in some other countries. Like, it's not like that here. We are grateful, but there are cases here I see cases every week. Yes, especially on Wednesday. So we rehabilitate them
Okay.
and bring them back. So that one too, we will use the MWAC tape as our reference point, and there is a special therapy therapeutic food we give them, like that's the RETF, and
What's that? What's RETF?
So ready to use therapeutic feed. It's designed by UNICEF through the WHO, just to help rehabilitate the child from SAM or severe acute malnutrition to having a normal life like any child will have, or achieving the green line that we showed here. And then we have the NACs. So NACs will need to do with, will have to do with HIV and AIDS patients. So a nutritionist will take care of HIV and AIDS patient. Gone were the days where every HIV patient you see was looking very thin a certain way. But by God's grace, through medication and the proper care by a nutritionist, as far as what the person is eating helps, because now we need to assess them. You work on the weight, you work on the right BMI for them. You work on, okay, so the BMI is done, then you do the diet counseling for them. You probe into weight. So how many times are you eating a day? How many water or quantity are you able to consume in a day? Are you taking fruits every day? Because fruits will do A, B, C, D as far as certain nutrient supply is or are concerned. So that is it. TB cases, HIV cases, and then basically that everything that has to do with what I have mentioned. So that is what happens as far as the NACs or the HIV tuberculosis cases are concerned, the CMAM cases, that's the malnutrition in children, are concerned, and then yes, I've mentioned TB. So that is for the bracket C as far as what a nutritionist does is concerned. So quite a lot.
I think it's important to mention that nutrition at the infant stage is basically the most critical
foundation you can give every child.
So if it's done right at that stage, you've set the child.
That's right. That's right. I'm happy. The First Lady, I'm told, is doing a project. I really haven't read much about it, but I'm happy. Anything about nutrition excites me. I just hope that those involved will just do the right thing, because we've preached malnutrition over the years, but still something that is big enough.
Let's look at the final slide, the slide D, and the issue of pregnancy.
Okay, so slide D. Now, the ANC concern, it's one important thing. And I'm like, the lab scientists, they should come back, please. We need results for our ANC clients because we need to also make sure that the right nutrition for the right trimester is given. So calcium comes in trimester 2, calcium, magnesium, trimester 3, folate, iron for trimester 1. Folates may even follow you throughout the rest of the trimester, because once it has to do with blood, iron can't be left out. So there are some key nutrients a woman or a pregnant woman will need to have, and so a nutritionist will help you also correct the low HP. And it's amazing what turkey berries is doing. What we call Koun Suswa, some call Yasantua, the Northerners say Kantor say, is doing in the lives of these pregnant women. But sometimes they come and you realize that she's been doing it for months, but she's still not achieving results. There is a way to go about it, because turkey berries in its raw form contains phytate, and that will also inhibit the absorption of the iron. So there is a way to go about it. So every professional nutritionist or registered nutritionist will help correct your HB. And then nutrient stores. Every pregnant woman, you need to make sure your nutrient stores are enhanced, because I always tell my pregnant women, when it comes to labor doesn't care that you've not had breakfast. Once baby wants to come, you need to gather every energy. And the energy you need to push, to endure, the strength you need to be sustained on is as a result of what you were able to save. You don't spend all your salary. You keep some bit for emergencies. And that is what happens to the body. Your baby will pick whatever he or she needs as far as what you ate was concerned, the nutrients. And then you as a mother will also pick yours. Now, if there isn't enough, where do we get to make sure we store for your stored nutrients? So it's an area I always, every pregnant woman who sits in front of me, it's very important to me, because I've had the experience where you needed to pause for somebody to eat because there was no energy to even push. So labor, the person went into labor in the morning, she delivered in the afternoon. You can imagine the trauma.
So I was going to say that, I mean, it's interesting because nobody ever goes into labor knowing how long they're going to be in labor for.
Thank you.
So adequate preparation in case it's the long haul.
Yep.
You need to be fully
You need a lot
prepared
of
for that.
energy. You need to make sure your stores are really there, to make sure you are okay, your baby is okay, and then your stored nutrients or your bank is also secured. So that is what you need to do. And there is a very important note I want you to note, very important. The next time you go to the hospital, to use the services of the CWC or what we call weighing,
Okay.
ask that you want to see a nutritionist. If there isn't a nutritionist there, based on everything we've told you and how important, so if you want that smart child, if you want that child to be like Nanado, it's not something you just sleep or talk about and achieve. We don't want a president who is dumb. Please, make sure nutrition sits there. Ask to see a nutritionist.
Okay. Just briefly talk to us about the fertility side of things, because I also know that a lot of parents a lot of couples trying to get pregnant, right, will be cursing family members and grandmothers are in trouble, and all kinds of things are happening because you are not eating well enough to be fertile. Talk to us about the link between what your nutrition and your fertility.
Okay, so before that, I want us to go to the slide B. That
B.
is the
Slide
role of
B.
a nutritionist, the B. I will answer that with the question too.
Okay.
So
Let's look at
to
slide
start
B.
off, the slide B contains counseling on healthy eating and meal pattern variety and frequency.
Okay.
So now, if you are eating right, you will be told that, okay, based on my needs at this level, I am a fresh couple. We've given ourselves some time, let's say 6 months to conceive.
Yeah.
Now, I have to make sure I am deliberately eating well. I have the right dietary pattern. I have the right dietary frequency. Frequency has to do with the right portion.
Yeah.
And then the pattern. Are you skipping meals? Are you doing what you need to do? Are you having a snack? How is your snack life like? In Ghana, they say chips. Chips is a snack. That's not a snack. And then you find somebody buying a takeaway pack full of mangoes, then they call it a snack.
Yeah.
So you need to be guided on them. You are eating. You need to be guided on the right quantities to help you as far as what you set out to achieve. And then relating it to your question now, everything needs to be interpreted as far as whatever you are eating. It should work with the 4-star diet. That is what the World Health Organization is tasking us all to eat, to follow as far as our eating is concerned. And now coming to me, if your specific goals is towards fertility, as a man, I will evaluate the food you are eating. Is it rich in zinc enough?
Okay.
A lot of research will need to be done in the area of zinc. Research is still ongoing. There isn't enough. But zinc has a good advantage, or I don't know, good advantage. No, it has a good thing on a man's fertility. And then iron, folates, or folic acid. Folates are the natural form. I'm a nutritionist. I'll say folates will have a good role on a woman's fertility. So seeing a nutritionist, a man, you'll be told what you need to do. We all need to make sure our blood levels are there. So iron, very critical for every human being, including the one trying to even pick seed. And then for men, there are specific nutrients like zinc, magnesium, selenium. They are all something that is good. So you don't just even pick any multivitamin and say that I'm taking them with my husband. There are certain nutrients a man will need as far as fertility is concerned. A woman, if you give me folate, I'll push it on to a woman. And we've done this episode, so I'm sure they will know where to find it. So for a woman, I'll push folate to a woman, and then for zinc, I will push it to a man. So that is what it has to do when it comes to fertility. And then with the non-communicable diseases, so we have hypercholesterolemia as far as the slide B is concerned. It will be addressed with what you are eating, and diabetes, gestational diabetes, high blood pressure, they are all other non-communicable diseases will be addressed by a nutritionist.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Akosia. Where can people find you?
Okay, so on Instagram at the nutritionist Akosia, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, nutritionist Akosia, and you can WhatsApp me or call me on 0243 350206. 0243-350206.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Akosia.
Pleasure.
We've been speaking with Akosia Konedi Adam, who's a state registered nutritionist.